Hey, thanks for coming. I'd like to talk to you today what I've discovered about diabetes. I believe I'm well on the way to a cure for myself, so I'm making this video to thank God for helping me have my cure. And since I can't really pay God back, I'm doing the next best thing, which is trying to help other people. There is a lot of complications with diabetes and with some of the associated diseases with like peripheral neuropathy. But I think the biggest problem is that medical science is loath to tell people that they can't cure diabetes. If you go look up other people, Google diabetes cure and stuff like that, you're going to find a couple of things. One is that they say the cure comes from adding something to your mix, when really the cause of diabetes is toxin buildup in the body. And things that normally wouldn't be a toxin become toxic when the concentration becomes high enough. When you see what happens when you're young, you're able to eat just about anything, drink sodas and pizza and all the other stuff with no ill effects. As you get older, you start to gain weight as a normal course of things. And people say, well, my body is slowing down. Well, that is true, but the real cause behind that is the toxins that you picked up make a problem. One of the things I just learned last night is that many cases of autism can be helped by detoxifying from heavy metals. Now, okay, so the medical establishment doesn't really know what the cause is of um, diabetes is. So what you see when you Google all these different cures on the web, they have their own idea, and you'll see people say parsley, and you'll see people say, oh, okay, Dr. Furman, he's saying, eat as much leafy green vegetables as you can. And it will work over time, some of this. But you have to understand how some of these things address the idea about toxins. I sort of debated whether to do this video because it's not really well prepared in my mind. I wanted to tell you that diabetes has no cure by medical science. Not only that, some of the things they give you, like metformin, which I took because I had a diabetic wound, actually causes your machinery to gum up. I took the metformin. I refused to take any more insulin, so they gave me a prescription for metformin, and I took that for 5 days. At the end of the 5th day, I missed at night taking the prescription. So I decided, well, I'm going to wait and see what happens if I get off of it. I've been doing it for 5 days, and maybe it'll show up that it's helped me. So my blood sugar readings should be lower. When the metformin has a half-life of about 6 hours. That's why whatever prescription you have with metformin or some of these other things, you double up on the dosage during the day, twice a day, so that your blood sugar, your metformin goes up, it comes down, and then it pops up and comes down again. So you're having to constantly add the metformin. I got off of that, and 36 hours later, I took my blood sugar that evening, and I had a very light lunch, and my blood sugar reading was 522. It actually made it worse. Okay, and what you see in the natural course of events is that the metformin gets replaced with insulin eventually. It doesn't work anymore. Well, metformin is just one more toxin you're adding to the body. The machinery is not working, so let's push the insulin. And the reason they do that is because they think that you're going to be at higher risk of heart attack and strokes. Okay. Blindness. Okay, so that was my plan. Okay, so I won't dwell too much, but the thing of it is, this conclusion that I came to is that you have to be proactive. You can't depend on the medical establishment. Okay? So now you're in that gray area where these people prey on you. And you'll see videos that people have put up on references to talk about their solution. Okay, I went looking at one, because I want to really find out. So I went looking for one. I can't remember what the name of it is. But one of the tactics these people are doing is, so you put in the name and you say scam, and what happens is that you come up with a whole list of websites that are directly related to the seller of the information or the whatever. So I gave up after a while, and I just said, well, let's just get rid of it. The people that are on here, like Steve Trueblue, if you go look at his stuff, he's done a lot of good work. Okay, and one of the guys on my video, I talked about this bacteria that causes ulcers, because the medical establishment thought ulcers was due to spicy food or stress. It turned out to be due to a bacterial infection. And so I went and looked at I have to think the guy, I don't have his name in front of me. His name was an Australian doctor named Barry Marshall. And I'll put the link so you can go read it. The doctors didn't believe him. He was a board certified doctor. Okay, so one of the things about the medical profession is that really take exception to new stuff. A couple of reasons for that. I don't want to go into it. But the thing is, you have to become proactive. So this is what who this video is made for, is for a person who's willing to go and look at something different. Okay, the cure for diabetes is to get rid of the toxins that are in the body, causing the cellular machinery to back up. Okay? So, first of all, where are the toxins? What are they? Well, some of it's food. Okay, it comes from food. Some of it comes from the air. Some of it comes from chemicals. I saw a video about a firefighter, or an article about a firefighter. It wasn't a video, it was an article in a firefighter's magazine, who got peripheral neuropathy by fighting one chemical fire, where he had to carry out his buddy who had passed out. The next day, he had peripheral neuropathy so bad he was disabled. Couldn't be a fireman anymore. Okay, I found a video site talking about PCBs, which were used in transformers, and they're still up in a lot of transformers up on the poles, telephone poles and electrical poles. Okay, and periodically explode, and there's PCB sprayed all over. You can get cancer and peripheral neuropathy in one day just by being exposed to PCBs. Okay. So what happens with diabetes is that it usually follows on after you gain weight. Okay, that weight gain comes on because if you have too much toxins coming in the body, and more comes in faster than the body is geared to get rid of it, then the body goes into survival mode, and it will create a fat cell. Okay? And because it has created a fat cell, the toxin sits in the fat. So it's out of the way, and it's no longer affecting the cells that do the work, the heart, the liver, the spleen, all the rest of it. That's why people get overweight. And when they go to fast, okay, the toxins come out. The cell gets consumed when you eat less calories, and so the body says, okay, I'm gonna take some cells out of commission and use those to build new cells. So it's like a car. It goes into the disassembly plant, and they take the metals out and they use those to make another car. Same idea. Okay. Oh, by the way, the guy's name that discovered that it was ulcers were caused by bacteria, his name was Barry Marshall. He got the Nobel Prize for medicine for doing that. Okay. Anyway, so where were we? Okay, diabetes is caused by toxins. Okay, so if you want to get rid of diabetes, you have to get rid of the toxins. Okay, so there's a couple of ways to do it. I'll talk about them. This and the approach that I've taken is the same approach that Chinese medicine has done. Each of these things that I mentioned has an effect, like the alkaline water in the video that I made. Okay, alkaline water works because the water that is alkaline has smaller clusters of water molecules, okay, as opposed to acid water. And typically, alkaline water has 6 molecules of water clustered together with a weak bond. So it can be broken, but then it reforms again to another cluster or another group of clusters constantly going on. It's all due to the chemistry. And the chemistry is based on the physics of the atoms. So, anyway, a lot of study has been done on that. You can go Google kink and water clusters, and you'll see. Okay, the 6 water clusters, the 6th molecule of water cluster goes through the cell wall better than 22 clusters do. 22 molecule clusters go through the cell wall. If you can't, the cell machinery produces toxins. The very process of consuming the oxygen creates free radicals. So the cell has to get rid of those. If it doesn't, there's a percentage process in that some of the free radicals will hit the DNA and cause a mutation. And most times the cells then recognize that mutation and say we need to get rid of it. The cell's not doing well. So it gets digested through the process of autophagy, which is another process I will talk about. Anyway, so we're using the Chinese model where things use different things to create a whole. So when you go get Chinese herbs for a solution, they'll give you a mixture of herbs and tell you to boil it or whatever you do with it. Okay, so this is the same approach, and you see that medicine is starting to go towards combinations of drugs in the same way. So there's validity in the approach, is what I'm telling you. You want to restrict your calorie content, okay? Because you don't know which toxins you have going into the system. So that's another way to reduce the toxins, is reduce the amount of food. Of course, then you have to be careful what food you do eat, okay? Because you still have a need for vitamins, you still have a need for other stuff. And so stuff like the grapefruit diet is not going to cut it, okay? What happens when you go on a diet? You get headaches, you get dizzy, and you get hungry, okay? One of the things that I've noticed with this is that I finally figured this all out about a month ago. Okay, we're at 19 minutes. I'm doing my best not to bore you. Okay, so in that time, since then, I've lost 10 pounds. Okay, and I haven't felt hungry. I haven't felt dizzy. I haven't had headaches that I did in the past. And it's all based on the theory that you get rid of the toxins. Okay. So the alkaline water, Okay. So what I do, okay, is that I've changed my diet to reduce the number of calories and carbohydrates. So I don't eat bread right now, and I don't eat pizza and stuff like that. Eventually, when I get my toxin level down, I'm going to reintroduce those and see if my blood sugar will stay at around 100. Right now on Saturday, so this is a couple of days ago, my blood sugar was 100, fasting blood sugar was 109. That's the lowest I've ever had. Okay, today it was 129. But I had Mexican food on Sunday. It was 156 after I had the Mexican food, which, as you know, can really have the calories, can really have the fried, and yeah. But it was a birthday party, and so then you went along with the program. So you have to make concessions in everyday living. Anyway, so 129, and hopefully by this end of this week, I'll be back to the 110 area. Okay, you can make a sort of, and one of the things that you do is you want to test. When you do something unusual, you should spend the time and energy and the money to take a blood sugar reading. Okay, very sage advice. So I'm just passing it on. And it's helped me a lot. For instance, I did a juice, a carrot juice and spinach, which has some healing properties in it. Okay, but it added 20 points to my blood sugar. Okay, so there's calories in the carrot juice, and the blood sugar went up. Okay, well now I know it, and so then I'm going to do it differently. So that's because I did the test. So you want to test, okay? Okay, so we talked. I'm going to go back again just for a minute to remind myself. Okay, diabetes is from toxins. You reduce the food. That's one way to reduce the toxins. Okay, other is to speed up the machinery of the cell. Okay, the alkaline water helps to make it easier to flush out the toxins. Okay, so then the liver screens out. I mean, the kidneys screen out the toxins and put it into the urine, and some of it goes out through the intestinal wall into the feces. So and one of the things that I just recently saw was coenzyme 10Q helps the RNA work a lot better. Okay. And then there's the state of autophagy. Autophagy happens when you don't eat for about 18 hours. So what I do is I try to I have my breakfast and finish my lunch, and I don't eat any more that day. I just drink alkaline water and take some vitamins. And what'll happen is that after the 14th, 15th hour, autophagy kicks in, which means that the body will now look and scavenge fat cells. Okay, the brain needs glucose, and it needs it all the time. It can't wait 6 hours more for you to eat and start converting carbohydrates into sugar. It needs it then, so it takes fat cells, and that particular mechanism produces ketones. Sometimes you can smell people when they're fasting. They have a particular smell from the ketones, which are excreted. So the autophagy is the real workhorse of getting rid of the toxins, because the toxins are there. Okay. Now, one of the things that I noticed when I was fasting is that you get constipated. And this is a natural reaction because the body doesn't really know when it's going to get more food. So what it does is that it holds on to the food that's in the intestines, even though it may have toxins. And sometimes when that happens, the toxins get reabsorbed along with the food that's still in the feces. So you don't want to be constipated, and that's one of the things that I noticed with the metformin is it made you constipated. So what I'm doing now that's also helping quite a bit is I'm taking a couple of fiber pills a day, or twice a day. And you can go get fiber from a number of different sources. I don't think it really matters if it's indigestible fiber or fiber that's like apple pectin, that's digestible. It all works, okay? Because you want the toxins to, instead of circulating back, you want it to keep going out. Okay, so that's the complete cycle. Okay, so I thought, okay, how do I know this is working or will work for you? I mean, that's a reasonable question. Well, look at what other people say. Okay, if you go look at my neuropathy, and I sort of screen things periodically because I'm looking to kick out the scams. Okay? So I do my best, and the ones they've left is because I have doubts that they're only a scam. You know, I want to give people an opportunity to investigate things like I did. Okay. So my recommendation to you is to investigate, go look at anything you can to give you confidence to go towards being healthier. Okay, let me close just by saying that God is present everywhere. That's the definition of God. God is omnipresent. So even with your state of being ill with diabetes, God is there. And God wants you to be better. Okay? Somehow the communication between you and God is not happening. Otherwise, you would be better than you are. So I gave you the story of how diabetes can be cured. I think that this is absolutely the right answer. You know, I am betting what I do on that. Okay? So you have a couple of choices. You've listened to the video so far, and so I give you credit for that. Okay? That means that you have an interest in making yourself better, and you're on the path to being proactive, listening to something that may help you, because you don't know. And so look at what other people have said. Okay, about the peripheral neuropathy. The alkaline water works. Okay, and it does reduce the blood sugar. If there's too much toxins, the blood sugar will still be high, but the neuropathy will go away. Sometimes the neuropathy only gets a little better. Again, it depends on how much toxins. Okay. So I wanted to make this so you can see that there is some rhyme and reason to what I'm saying. I will put some of the responses to people in the description so you can read that yourself and know. Okay. One of the things that I've tried to do is to tell people what I know to be true or think to be true. So I don't mind if you question whether I'm true or not, but what you should know is I'm doing my best. Okay, so it doesn't bother me if you call and say or write and say, "Oh, it didn't work for me." Okay, well, that's the nature of a statistical process. That only a certain percentage of the people respond to a drug. And at that point, what you do is you try another one. You need to find something to work because the outcome of diabetes is not very pleasant. Okay, so I trust that you will find a solution for yourself and be happy. Thank you.